Would you like to bet $20 and win $100 at BetMGM regardless of your wager's outcome and get $100 in free wager bucks? Just go to wt.buzz/MGM for more details and find out if you're eligible for this amazing offer.
Welcome, everybody, to WagerTalk Today, the number one most listened to, most watched, most loved, and most excellent daily sports betting show on the planet. Teddy covers with me. I'm Lawrence Presman. It's a double dose of the Prez for you guys who watched Puck Time. You got to put up with me again. Anyway, Teddy, we got a great show. Steve Merril right off the bat. We're going to talk Rutgers, Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota. We got the Carm coming on, a couple of hockey games, Buffalo, Montreal, the LA Kings in Arizona, and of course, Art Dicesare at the end of the show. Theodore, my brother, how are you? How did you do last night? And what did you learn in the wonderful world of sports betting?
I am doing well. I won my only release last night, sweat and a half, but we got there at the end. Crazy final minute, legitimately, in that Northern Illinois game. Last night, but we got there plus the 3, never in doubt, right? And a good short list last night as well, so that's a positive sign moving forward. I have a 5% big ticket going tonight in college hoops action. 3-0 the last 3, 12-4 the last 16, 28-12 the last 40, dating all the way back to last May. So it's been an extended run of solid results with those 5% big tickets. Again, you can get that right now over at WagerTalk and or sportsmemo.com. But where are we going to lead today, Prez? We're going to lead with horse racing. And the reason I wanted to lead with horse racing is I don't think I've ever led with horse racing before in terms of what bettors learn. And what the heck are we talking about horse racing in the middle of February? Well, this is what's happened this week. All right, the winner of the 2021 Kentucky Derby, Medina Spirit, was just disqualified following a formal hearing into the positive drug test from Bob Baffert and the Horse Racing Commission. So what happened? Medina Spirit crossed the finish line first last May, but he tested positive for betamethasone, which is a legal steroid that's banned in the 2 weeks leading up to the race. And then the horse died of a heart attack in Santa Anita in December. So the Derby win is officially vacated. What does that mean for bettors? Absolutely nothing. Anyone with a winning ticket on Mandolin, the horse that finished second, you're going to rip that ticket up. It's no good. Just like when the Bob Baffert trained Gamine was disqualified from third place in 2020, made no difference in the pari-mutuel wagering because it happened after the fact. When you talk about the laws that are in place for horse racing, basically, yeah, the champion gets re-championed, but from a betting standpoint, even when the horse vacates, it makes no difference. So if you bet on the cheating horse, you won. You don't have to worry about it 9 months after the fact. But an interesting horse racing story for February, and one that we don't often get to talk about. Same story if a guy wins the MVP or again wins the home run award and later gets disqualified, or a team later has to vacate their wins. The bookmakers don't change after the fact. Once it's graded, it's graded. That's the case for horse racing and other sports as well. That's what I learned, Prez. What about you?
Teddy covers. Yeah, great take on that horse racing story. I mean, I pay no attention to horse racing whatsoever. I know we got some great horse racing handicappers over at WagerTalk, and I know Marco is deeply involved in the horse racing industry. I got told Joe Ranieri's best bets are on fire in CBB. Joe, give me one, man. Give me a college hoops play to give out on this show. Teddy, I had a great night last night. A perfect sweep, 3-0. Man, last night, Teddy, was the first night in memory where I lost both my presidential plays, the daily presidential address, I lost both, and I won both my client plays. I'm hoping that's a good sign because my client plays are the most important plays, but I would like to win everything, and I do have some hockey plays for you guys later in the daily presidential address. I played hockey last night, Teddy. We got annihilated 7-2. Ay, ay, ay. Anyway, let's bring Steve Merril in. And Steve, right off the bat, great news for Teddy Covers. You're going to be handling the host duties of WagerTalk Today next week, starting Monday. Hey, Dan should have like a cake up there and song and dance for Teddy. Chuck writes, thanks so much, Prez. I'm assuming he means that I won't be around next week. I'm going to Florida to see my parents, Steve.
Nice.
You ready?
I didn't realize your parents were in the States, actually. So that's good to hear.
Yeah, well, they're in Boca for exactly to the day half a year.
Okay.
So yeah, so they're there all winter and they absolutely love it. I've been down a couple of times. It's a great place. Last time I was down, I saw Joe Ranieri, the guy who's winning his college basketball bets. We went golfing together. Anyway, dude, let's get straight into it. Let's talk Rutgers, Michigan, and then we'll talk about how great you're doing. Rutgers, Michigan, -5.5, 135 is the total. How do we bet this game, Steve Merril?
Yeah, as you know, Prez, whenever I bring a couple games on, I like to have a theme, right? Well, the theme for today's 2 college basketball games is Fight Night. It's Teddy Covers alumni here, the Michigan Wolverines. But we're going to look at the 2 games that are involved in the big fights. We're going to look at Rutgers, Michigan here, and then right after this, the Minnesota-Wisconsin game. And, of course, I'm referencing the fight a couple days ago between Wisconsin and Michigan at the end of that game. Juwan Howard has now been suspended the final 5 games, which is exactly the regular season. Why they said they suspended him, I think, 5 games, which happens to be exactly the regular season. So he'll be back for the conference tournament and then March Madness after that. But I think there's 2 different ways to look at these 2 teams here, and I want to look at the Michigan one first here. I think this is a good bounce-back spot for Michigan. They are the team that lost that game a couple days ago on Sunday, 3 days ago, I guess, however you look at it. I lost that by 14. It was a bad loss. Whenever you get a quality team off a bad loss, that always makes my short list. 2 ways to look at this. Is it a distraction not having Juwan Howard? I think actually it's going to motivate this squad. I think they'll step up and play here harder than normal. So I like the motivation factor, not having their head coach. I like the fact they're coming off a double-digit loss. And then there's also a revenge angle here as they lost against Rutgers earlier this season. And that game was about a month and a half ago on January 4th up in New Jersey. They lost that game by 8. What I'd like to do on these revenge games isn't necessarily just play the revenge angle, but like sometimes look for what I call misleading box scores. And I think we have that here in this earlier meeting. I talk about turnovers in the NFL. That's how in college football too. Turnovers is where you can find misleading scores often in football. 3-point shooting, especially in college basketball, I think is where you get some misleading scores. And this is what happened in that earlier matchup. Rutgers was 11 for 23, 48% from 3. Michigan, a mere 3 for 15, 20%. Yet they only lost that game by 8 points on the road. The reason is because they were plus 16 from 2-point range, and they were even from the free throw line. So Michigan was plus 16 when you take away the 3-point shooting. I think that bodes well here in the rematch. I think it's a focused spot. I'll lay the short number with Michigan, but I'm curious to hear Teddy's thoughts on this and if he thinks it's a bounce-back spot for his Wolverines.
Well, first, I have no problem with Phil Martelli coaching any game.
Sure.
Martelli, of course, is Michigan's lead assistant. He'll be filling in for Juwan Howard over the course of the next 5 games. Martelli, the former head coach at St. Joe's, coached a bunch of NBA players, took St. Joe's to the Final Four. He's a coach who we respect. And, I don't see Michigan being in any kind of let down spot here, given those circumstances. So I agree with you in terms of we like, in theory, the spot for Michigan. But you want to talk about 2 teams with opposite track records. Rutgers, last 8 tries as a dog, either 7-0-1 ATS or 8-0, depending on where you got them in the Purdue game. So they've been real good catching points. Michigan laying points? I've got them 0 for 6 for the season. 0-6 ATS when laying less than 7, or 7 or less, I should say. They have not been a good favorites. And you look at every recent game where they're laying points. They're laying 3 to Ohio State, don't cover. Laying 2 to Penn State don't cover. Laying 15 to Nebraska don't cover. Laying 8 to Northwestern don't cover. And on down the line. Do you worry about the issues with A, Rutgers covering every time as a dog, and B, Michigan never covering any time as a favorite? Does that concern you enough to back off your Wolverines recommendation here?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Rutgers has been a good dog. In fact, you look at their recent wins until that loss against Purdue, in which they did cover. They'd won 4 outright as a dog. In fact, Rutgers has covered 6 straight, and 4 of those last 5 have been outright dog wins. But I think because of that, Teddy, and also the fact Michigan hasn't been a great favorite, this line is cheaper than it should be. I made it a couple points higher. So I think this is a perfect example of getting some line value now. And the other thing I'll counter with is that Rutgers has not been a good road team. They're 13-2 at home, including that win over Michigan. They're just 3-8 on the road. And even though they've been a good dog, they're just 4-7 ATS on the road. So I think it sets up well for Michigan tonight.
Steve Merril joining us, everyone. You can find Steve exclusively at WagerTalk.com. And Steve, man, you are rolling, dude. Like always, congratulations. Your basketball is just amazing. Number 1 ranked NCAA basketball bettor the last 2 years. 64% college basketball run the last 2.5 weeks. 84% return on investment in basketball in the last 10 months. Why? How?
Well, I'll tell you what I like about basketball, Prez, is that there's so much volume on the board. And, I only have maybe 2 to 3 plays a night at most. So I pick my spots. And I've always said the one edge you get as a professional bettor is that odds makers have to put numbers up on every game, and we get to choose which ones we play. And college hoops is the epitome of that. So it's not a surprise that I've been really good in college basketball. And just the way we're breaking these games down, we look at stats, we look at matchups, but we also look at situational analysis. I love college basketball this time of year. And check out the college basketball tip-off show, right? 1:45 Eastern each weekday. I was on yesterday. I'll be on again tomorrow on Thursday. So if you like college hoops, this is the week to be playing it, right? Because the NBA All-Star break is still in effect. And March Madness right around the corner. A lot of money to be made in college basketball right now.
Steve, in keeping with college basketball, let's move to Wisconsin, Minnesota. Man, I got to think the general public's looking at Wisconsin here. 21-5 record against a 13-12 Minnesota team. And a fairly short number at -5. But Wisconsin, 4-6 ATS in their last 10. I'm very curious where you're going. Maybe you're going with the total, 135. How do we bet this game?
Yeah, the first meeting actually was fairly low scoring, 126 when these teams played on January 30th. Wisconsin won that game 66-60 at home. I do think it'll be a little higher scoring here, but I'm going to look at the side. I talked about that fight on Sunday. Wisconsin won the game by 14. I think Michigan is in a bounce-back spot because of it. I think it's the opposite here, and this is a perfect example. Every situation is different. You got 2 teams coming off the same situation. I think it's a positive for Michigan. I think it's a negative for Wisconsin for a few reasons. First of all, just from a scheduling perspective, I think you can make the argument this is a little bit of a flat spot on the schedule for Wisconsin. Coming off back-to-back wins at Indiana as a dog, and then, of course, the home win against Michigan with the fight and everything else. They've got another road game at Rutgers, and then they have Purdue right after that. I think this is a little bit of a flat spot for them at Minnesota, especially since they already beat them earlier this season at home just 3 weeks ago. So I think it's a letdown spot for Wisconsin. I think the line's a little inflated. Now we look, can we trust Minnesota in this role? And I think we actually can. I mean, Minnesota, as I said, lost by only 6 as an 11-point dog. They covered the meeting a few weeks ago. We'll look at the box score. I talked about that misleading box score with Michigan Rutgers. It really wasn't the case. It was a close game at Wisconsin. In fact, Wisconsin made 1 extra 2-point shot, and the teams are dead even. They each hit 6 threes. The difference was on the free throw line. Wisconsin made 4 more free throws than Rutgers. So that was really the difference in this game. Neither team turned it over. Neither team forces many turnovers this season. So I think it'll be a pretty clean game again. And one thing that Wisconsin does is they rely on getting to the free throw line more than most teams in the nation. Minnesota, though, surprisingly, one of the best teams in the country as far as not allowing their opponents to score from the free throw line. In fact, there's 358 teams. Only 6 teams in the nation allow a lower percentage of points from the free throw line. So I think this is actually a good matchup once again for Minnesota. And something, Teddy, we've talked about before is the luck factor. And I was going to talk about that Providence-Xavier game because Providence is still the luckiest team in the nation. But I decided to do this one instead. But Wisconsin actually the 7th luckiest team in the nation out of 358 teams. I think it's a little bit of a flat spot here. So I had no problem fading the Badgers tonight on Wednesday.
So this is a Minnesota team that started the season 10-1. All right, really overachieving. Multiple straight-up wins as underdogs during that span. They beat Mississippi State on the road. They beat Michigan on the road. But that was then, this is now. We're talking about a team that has, 3 wins since Christmas. And off a win like the one they had last time against Northwestern. The last time they covered, coming off a win, was mid-December. Does that concern you at all about Minnesota's inability to string multiple good games together in a row?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, when you're backing a 4-12 team in conference play against a 12-4 team, you're like, well, this number should be bigger. But the funny thing is, if you look at Wisconsin, despite going 12-4 in the conference so far, the Big Ten, they've actually been outshot by over 1%, 43% to 44% allowed. So, I go back to that luck factor. I agree with you, by the way. Minnesota's like 71st on the luck list because they were really lucky early in the season. So these are 2 teams that were probably overrated. I think Minnesota, those come back down to earth, as you've talked about. I don't think Wisconsin has quite yet. Something I'll point out about this, Wisconsin used to play those snail paces, those half-court styles. Minnesota's actually the much slower-paced team this year, which is interesting. So I think that also might actually frustrate Wisconsin a little bit. So, yeah, if you look at the overall numbers, you'd be like, hey, look, Wisconsin should roll in this one. But you dig deeper, this is once again about the situational aspect of it. I don't think it's a good spot for Wisconsin. And I actually think Minnesota matches up well. We saw that 3 weeks ago. It's all about matchups when handicapping sports. And they only lost by 6 on the road. It was a tight game. I think they can win this one outright actually tonight at home.
Great stuff, Steve. Listen, you got a American flag behind you. So I have a question. I would say almost never. I have no memory of driving through Toronto or the country in Ontario, and there was an American flag hanging, a Canadian flag hanging outside of someone's house. Never seen it. In America, I see it a lot. I drove from Toronto to Florida about 4 or 5 years ago. I think there were more American flags hanging out of people's homes in Virginia than any state I've ever driven through. Do you have an American flag hanging outside your house?
Not at the moment, but I've got one I put out occasionally for the 4th of July, Memorial Day, and I do have the flag holder, which I added a couple years ago. And I've actually got one on my desk here, Prez. Sorry, I got a lot of American flags laying around. I've got a
I love it.
I voted sticker from a couple years ago. So, yeah.
Oh, my God.
We just love our country a little bit more. But we have a cool flag, though. I mean, I actually like the Canadian flag watching the Olympics, but, a maple leaf, I don't know if I'd hang that as often as the Stars and Stripes. I do think we have a cooler flag.
Listen, I'll tell you, I think you guys got the coolest anthem. I think we have the coolest
Anthem's
flag.
Pretty good, too. Yeah, I agree.
Our flag rocks, dude. The Canadian flag, that one big leaf. I think it's a great flag. But
I've actually got a Canadian flag over here. I've got one over here in the office. I'll bust it out next week for you. I've got it over here on the shelf. I've got a Canadian flag also. I like that flag. It's better than the Olympics. The Olympics have some terrible flags like France, Italy, the 3-bar colors. Yeah. Very boring. Very old. Very old.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm with you on that one. Steve Merril, everyone, what do you got to promote?
Just college hoops. Like you said, number one the last 2 years since I joined WagerTalk.com. Nobody has won more money in college basketball. But don't forget about the NBA when it returns. As you mentioned, Prez, the last 10 months, I've returned 80% profit in college and pro hoops. Why wait any longer? We have a special price for the rest of the college season, the lowest it's been all year. No promo code needed. Go to my page right now, Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com.
Yeah. Steve, it's funny. Jessica writes, have you been to Texas, Prez? Flags everywhere. And Teddy, the thing that I went through my mind was I've never driven, when I was saying it, I've never driven through Texas. So I don't know. But if I had to guess, I would say there are more flags outside of homes in Texas per capita than any other state. I'm just guessing. But out of all the states I've driven through, Virginia is number one. And Chuck Pod, I love the Canadian national anthem. No, dude, that anthem is boring. Teddy, you got a flag hanging outside your house?
No.
Yeah. I'm going to send you one with a picture of me.
And then I will continue not to have a flag hanging outside of my house.
Oh, you bum. Guys, Teddy's got a 5% play up tonight. He did not organize a promo code for you all because he doesn't need to. He's Teddy Covers. And when he releases a 5% play, we play it. Teddy Covers, good luck, my brother. I wish I had a 5% one with you. I don't, but I swept last night 3-0, and I got 5 plays going tonight. We'll talk about it in the daily presidential address. Steve, you can go. Teddy, you can get your chops ready. We got your big game breakdown coming. Carmine Bianco and Art Dicesare. Stay with us, everyone.
Sign up for the free WagerTalk text club to gain access to free plays and exclusive discounts. Just text WagerTalk to 33222 to sign up and get a $10 coupon to use on WagerTalk.com.
It is time for today's big game breakdown. Let's go to college hoops tonight and go to Lexington, Kentucky, and take a look at LSU versus Kentucky. Right now, looking at the WagerTalk live odds screen, I'm seeing 7 and a split line here. We'll call it more 7.5s than 8s right now for the Wildcats. So Kentucky minus 7.5, total 142/142.5 right now. This play is a client play for me, and the theory behind it is exactly the same theory that I'm using in my 5% big ticket play for tonight. I think the other one's stronger. That being said, this is the theory. All right. Here's the concept. LSU has a statistical profile that is far better than the team actually is right now. On Ken Palm, LSU right now ranks number 18. Kentucky ranks number 2, and Kentucky is that good. Okay, there's no denying Kentucky is right there with the elite teams. LSU was that good 2 or 3 months ago. Look, this team was 12-0. They had a 15-1 start. They had an early January stretch where they beat Kentucky and Tennessee and Florida back to back to back. They had a bunch of good non-conference wins. They beat Wake, they beat Belmont, Liberty, Penn State. They were a good team back then. Since those back-to-back-to-back wins against Kentucky, Tennessee, and Florida, this team is 4-7 straight up, 3-8 against the spread. And their profile still says not they're good, they're elite in their last 11 games. This is not a tiny sample size for LSU. This is who they've beaten. Texas A&M twice, Mississippi State in a tight game they didn't cover at home, and 1-14 in SEC, 6-22 overall Georgia. That's it. 2 wins over A&M, 1 over Mississippi State, 1 over Georgia in their last 11. They're losing to the likes of South Carolina, Vanderbilt, Ole Miss, TCU. Those are all teams that are 500 or lower in conference play. So, yeah, Ken Palm says they're number 18 in the country. The point spread says they're number 18 in the country. I'm not buying that. They're not number 18 in the country right now, not even close. And, oh, yeah, the other team, the team that is really good, Kentucky, they're in revenge and meaningful revenge. They outplayed LSU in the first meeting, but 36% shooting, just 10 of 20 from the free throw line. Wildcats get their revenge tonight. Give me Kentucky minus the 7.5. Again, a client play for this evening. You can get that 5% big ticket right now over at WagerTalk and or sportsmemo.com. Prez, back to you, my friend.
Teddy, I listened intently to that pick. You're on Kansas. I'm excited. No, in all seriousness, guys, listen to that big game breakdown again. Teddy does not give out client plays on his big game breakdown very often. It's actually funny, Teddy. I'm giving out a client play on the presidential address if we get to 100 likes. I found a clear difference in your conviction today versus other big game breakdowns. You are firmly on Kentucky. I really loved your big game breakdown today, and I think the fact that you released it as a client play, which means it's just a higher rated play than your regular big game breakdowns, came across inside of your analysis. Good luck, dude. I'm going to bet that play. I'm going to bet it just based on you. Also, way to promote your 5% play in your big game breakdown today. That's going up on Twitter. Good job, bro. Good job.
I get the Prez seal of approval. Yeah, you like the way to that?
Yeah,
No,
I'm kind of implying that the rest of your big game breakdowns, you never promote your play, so you suck. But you can take it as a compliment for today.
I shall. But the issue here is, look, yesterday, okay, when I came out of Iowa, I like Iowa, against Michigan State. Did I have the same level of conviction? Maybe not.
No.
Did it win? Absolutely.
Yes.
So how much conviction you have over your play does not necessarily correlate to whether that play wins or loses.
Fair enough. And I was on Iowa yesterday for my clients. That was a beautiful winner. Carmine Bianco joining us. Carm, what is it, dude? You can't get enough of me today?
Yeah, you were quite the handful on puck time today, but that's pretty much the case every Wednesday that you come on. We enjoy it and then look forward to it being over. How you doing, guys?
Yeah, I'm like Las Vegas. Hey, can't wait to get me on the show. Can't wait to get me off the show. But one of the things that really stood out to me on Puck Time, I felt was a really excellent show, was just the comment that was made about how if you're not feeling well, you're down in the dumps, you have a fever, something happens, you just get some Prez. Get some Prez in your life. The dude's like medicine, man. And I really felt that came across on Puck Time. So I really appreciate the person who did mention that Prez is really a gift that keeps giving. Carm, who was it?
I'm not actually sure who it was. I want to thank you because you're going to be filling.
It was me, Carm. I mentioned it.
Yeah, you're the gift that keeps on giving, I think you said, and that's why people regift. But
yes,
nice.
That's a line of the day right there. Well done.
Yeah, baby.
With that said, I appreciate you and Brian are going to be filling in for me. I'm going to be taking some time off from Puck Time and Stoppage Time shows to get better. Yesterday was a bad day for me. Not so much in sports betting. It was a losing day. Overall 2-2 day, but lost some units. But as you know, had to get rushed to the hospital. Wasn't feeling good, chest pains, and I need to take some time off. So they're going to be doing some testing. But I will be back. I'll still be doing some stuff behind the scenes, but taking some time off from the shows that, as you guys know, with this great show that you do, there's a lot of prep that goes into it. I'm going to use that time to rest up a bit.
Yeah, Teddy, Carm, we spoke about this on Puck Time. Carm spent the afternoon and night in the hospital last night, and we all wished him well on Puck Time. And I mean that sincerely. I mean, both of you guys, for all the crap that we go back and forth on, I mean, you guys are family to me. That's friend family. I mean, I know Teddy has me as guardian of his child, and Carm guardian of his pubic hairs. It's a privilege to have you with us, bro. Carm, you stay with us, man. You get your ass better. You get back on this damn show, and you feel good, and you win, and put a Canadian flag outside your house. Teddy?
Now, Prez, the best thing to do with a guy who's having heart issues and had to be rushed to the hospital yesterday is start screaming at him and telling him what he's supposed to do. The fact that Carm is even on this show today,
I'm the
we're going to give him all the credit in the world. Just be mellow, dude. Just be mellow. We want to keep you around for a long time, buddy.
Yeah, Carm, let's go, baby. Buffalo, Montreal. What do you got for us on this game?
Yeah, listen, and this is another one that we talked about earlier, but the Canadians made that the odd thing of firing their coach mid-season or towards the end of the season. They're going nowhere. They're mired in last place. Why change a coach? But 3 really bad losses and losing to a team like Columbus by and giving up 6 goals, giving up another 7 to the New Jersey Devils. After you gave up 7 to Edmonton, you had to do it because fans are returning to the stands in these arenas in Canada and full capacities, and you've got to do something for the fans. Marty St. Louis came in. Sure, they lose their first 3 games, but they've won 3 straight. Prior to that, they hadn't won more than 2 games in a row. This is a 3-game winning streak when the most they won was 1, and then followed up with a loss. They're winning games and they look like they're having fun. He's brought a different atmosphere to this team. They're having fun. So yeah, let them win a few more games. They catch a Buffalo team coming in who themselves aren't playing well. 3 straight losses, allowed 15 goals. They have injury problems. Calapozo is the next one who's on the injury list as well, non-COVID related. And they have Craig Anderson in goal. They've had goaltending problems. This guy's 40 years old, probably his last season in this league. The Canadians, the market's moved a little bit on them. It was at, I think, minus 110 both ways. I'm now seeing minus 115 and minus 120 on Montreal. Let's just go with the Habs to win another game tonight, make it 4 in a row. I would say there's been worse teams that have won 4 in a row, but there's nobody worse than Montreal this season. But I think they make it 4 in a row tonight.
Let's shift out to the West Coast. Phoenix, Arizona tonight, where the Coyotes are big home dogs to the LA Kings. Seeing a fair bit of line variance on this one. You can lay minus 190 with LA. You can lay minus 210 with LA. Total, mostly 5.5 to the over. Juiced minus 25, minus 30. There are a couple of 6s popping up, not many of them. What are we going to do with the Kings and the Coyotes Wednesday night NHL?
Yeah, it's very good, Teddy, in mentioning the total because I think that's where we're going to look here. I don't like taking these big priced teams. We saw 3 of them in the early games yesterday all go down: Toronto, Minnesota, and the Florida Panthers. So it's one of those things where we get into that 50, 60 game part of the schedule, and you got to watch some of these games and some of them with the backup goalies in net. These teams played on Saturday in Arizona, and the Kings got a 5-3 win there. The Kings haven't played since. Arizona's played 1. The Kings are playing well right now, and they've gotten themselves into the playoff race. They're batting for those final 2 spots along with Edmonton, Anaheim, Dallas, and Vancouver, and they need to string some wins together. So this is a big game for them in that sense. Over the course of these last 10 games, where they've gone 6-2-2, they're averaging 3.2 goals per game, which is much better than what they've averaged all year, and that would put them top 10 in the league in goals per game scored, taking this short sample size. And they're playing an Arizona team that have allowed 3.5 goals per game, which is second worst. Only the Montreal Canadiens at 3.65 have been worse as far as goals allowed. So I'm looking at the total here. It's at 5.5, as you mentioned. But you look at the WagerTalk live lines, and I think we're going to start to see some 6s pop up. There's one up there right now, I think, at DraftKings, but I think we're going to see more because the juice has now moved to minus 130, minus 135, and the next thing you see after that 135 is a total go to 6 with plus money on the over. So if you like the over, take the over now at 5.5 because I think we're going to see some 6s pop up. I think that's the way to go, over 5.5 here.
Awesome work, Carm. Now you got a 5% play up in hockey tonight, and guys, Carm's been really, really hot in hockey over the last month.
Soccer.
Oh, it's in soccer? What? I just looked.
Yeah.
Oh, well, promote it.
Yes. And this is one of the reasons why I came on to the 2 shows today instead of starting my break early. Is I went 2-0 in soccer yesterday, 0-2 in NHL last night. One of the plays was a 5% play, I believe, in being 100% transparent in this industry. Don't talk about your good days if you're not going to talk about your bad days. Last night's NHL was bad. 17-7 run prior to that. We'll try and get right back on track. Three games in NHL tonight, but 3 plays in soccer today. One of them is a 5% soccer play in Champions League. So we'll try and get right back on a winning track. I thank you guys for having me on the show, and I wish you all the best of luck.
Dude, we love you, bro. Guys, Carm's 5% play starts at 3 p.m. Eastern today. If you plan on parlaying Carm's 5% with Teddy's 5%, don't. Roll it. Roll it instead. Put your 100 or 200 on Carm's 5%. It'll be over by 6. Roll it on Teddy's 5% right after that. 4x your money instead of 2.6x it. Art Dicesare joining us. Initially, before I saw the caller, I thought Art was a nurse at the hospital today, but now I see that he has got a collared shirt, not buttoned up, so you did fool me. I missed you, bro. How are you?
Gentlemen, it's a pleasure to be here. A nurse, huh? Okay. I mean,
well, it's the blue. It's the blue. It's the blue.
Okay. I want to ask you, when it comes to parlays and parlay odds, because Prez just made a mistake talking about it right here. I don't want to throw him under the bus, but obviously a 2-teamer is the only parlay that gives you true odds. Yeah, Prez, the only one you get. The reason you get 2.6 to 1 is because that's in theory the best parlay to make, where the house takeout is. Tell me where I'm wrong, Prez. Tell me where I'm wrong. Where a 2-teamer is going to pay you 4 to 1. Give me that math. Go.
A 2-teamer pays you 2.6 to 1, and the true odds are 4 to 1. The closest to true odds of all parlays is a 3-teamer. It should be 8 to 1, and it pays you 6 to 1. That is the most effective yet stupid parlay. All parlays are stupid, but a 3-teamer is the closest to true odds, not a 2-teamer. Art, do you want to I mean,
when you're
like
saying
one
stuff
of us
is flat out wrong,
Prez,
I got it. It's wrong. A 3-teamer is not closer to 2 odds than a 2-teamer. Art, tell us.
I'll go with the 2-teamer.
Yeah, you're wrong. But anyway,
you're wrong, Prez. And
I don't make any of these stupid bets.
Wrong. In this instance,
fine.
You are.
I'm wrong. You know what, Teddy? Let me be wrong, even though I'm right. Let me be wrong on parlays, because I never bet them ever, 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 ever. They're stupid. All of them.
Let's talk about parlays.
Including the 2-teamer.
What percentage of your handle comes in parlays? I mean, do you get a lot of parlay action there? Is the parlay action all mostly the $5 and $10 and $20 bettors who are trying to make a score? Or do you have pros come in and play some of these parlays?
No, I mean, the weekend warriors, the people who are here for the week, or just, the guy or girl who's in and out of the sports book every day is putting $5, $10, $20 down on a parlay. It's definitely a big part of what we do, as I'm sure you guys know. It's parlays and teasers and all those type of things are great for us. It's something that we're all about having. Obviously, during football season, that's why you see parlay cards and teaser cards. We want those things to be played. No, you rarely are going to see the sharper bettors or the bettors we respect putting in parlays. They're just not going to do that. They're going to bet their single bets and move on, their 1 unit, 2 unit, whatever they're doing. But yeah, I mean, people, you always could tell the parlay better because they're at the window for a long time. And they're kind of quote unquote handicapping at the window. And they're trying to match things and trying to maybe put a little juicy plus money on a money line and get their dollar amount up. So, the person leaning over the counter and sitting there for a while with a bunch of papers, you can always tell the parlay better's coming a mile away.
Art, I don't even want to drop this, dude. I'm sorry, man. Guys, if you bet, we're talking minus 110. You bet the first game, you double your money. You bet at the second game, you double your money. That's $400
You're not
instead of
doubling your money. You're
260
getting
minus the juice
0.091
on a
You're not
3-team
doubling
parlay.
it. You're giving
You know
bad
what,
numbers.
Teddy?
Prez,
You want to
let's talk about
interrupt
this
me?
tomorrow.
You can't even let me finish to make my point.
Do your research.
Fine. You're right. You're
about
right,
it tomorrow.
Teddy. You're a parlay god. Ladies and gentlemen, Teddy's got a 5% play on a 2-team parlay. It's up tonight at WagerTalk.com. Art,
just hates being
let's
wrong.
move to
He
college.
hates being
I don't
wrong.
want to hear your shit, Teddy. You don't know what you're talking about, and you won't even let me finish.
Me and Art don't know what
Art,
we're talking about. You're right.
College basketball. Give us some actionable info.
Oh, this is the time of the year, gentlemen. College basketball takes, center stage. Obviously, the NBA is on hiatus till Thursday, tomorrow, but, this is when people really dive into the college basketball. NBA or NFL has ended. We're right in the thick of the conference play, and then we'll get in the conference tournament play really soon. Couple things to throw out for you tonight. Probably the most interesting game that's kind of gone back and forth. And it's a team that, not a lot of people expected to be this good this year. You got Xavier going to Providence. It was opened at 1.5, went to 2.5. Providence was favored. Now it's gone back to 1. This is going to be classic. Not that there's a lot of these that we get, not really like we get in football, but, the sharp bettors are going to be very happy to take Xavier tonight. Public will be all over Providence because they see a top 10 team laying a short number at home. So you've seen that kind of split there. And then Wake going to Clemson, opened 1. It's now -3. You've seen a lot of good Wake money come in early in this game.
I want to talk about Providence for just a minute because there's such an interesting story. All right. This is a team that all the advanced metrics saying they're the luckiest team in the country. All they've done is overachieve and win all of these coin flip games they're not supposed to win. And it seems like when you talk to casual bettors, they love this team. When you talk to wise guys, they hate this team. They're like, oh, the fraud, complete fraud. And yet they keep losing betting against them. At some point, do the wise guys ever stop banging their head against a team that, all right, the metrics say they're not as good as they actually are? Or do the wise guys, the wise guys keep pounding their head against that same wall with a team that the statistical profile is messing them up?
I think when it comes to Providence, Teddy, I heard you mention Ken Palm before. They're not loved in the Ken Palm ratings if you look at Providence. I mean, they're a top 10 team, and they're way down the board on Ken Palm. So
Sure.
I think the casual bettor just looks at a team who's ranked 8th in the country, 9th in the country, whatever they are, and they go, oh, that's a top 10 team. It's a short price at home. So the casual bettor, especially the casual college basketball bettor who just is getting here now after football, they might have not seen Providence at all. And they just see Providence as a top 10 team. So, we'll just blindly bet it. I think the sharper bettors, if they have kind of missed the boat on Providence, they might just not bet them or bet against them